Well, hello. I believe we're live now. Hi, I'm Karina Carj'an Bowman, and this is CSI Creative Source of Inspiration. And today, our guest that we're waiting on a bit, he's tied up with a patient at the moment, but he'll be with us shortly. Jeremy Gilsoul, who is a functional medicine practitioner and an acupuncturist. But while we're waiting for Jeremy, and our darling Sandy is not with us here today, and please send some prayers to her. She's going through a bit of challenges, shall we say. And there's always challenges come the holiday, is there not? It is a beautiful time where you can feel uplifted in all this special joy and the Christmas spirit and wonderful. And yet at the same time, it can also bring up a lot of different situations emotionally. But then if it doesn't happen emotionally, sometimes it's just outside forces that happen. And so when this does happen, take a quick moment to stop and just breathe. It's important because when you breathe and you breathe the breath 101 that I have shared with so many of you, you can take your system and go from that fight or flight, paralyzed position and go right down into the parasympathetic, which is more calm, clear-minded, release. So you can actually take a breath and get some oxygen into your system, which is what your physiology needs anyway, in order to function optimally. But that's a story for another day. I've got to tell you, if you could just wait just a very quick moment. We've got a slight glitch. Um, This does happen with tech, doesn't it? And live, of course, it happens live. You gotta love it. Um, it's okay. Even this, we breathe through it, do we not? It's important to do so. And I apologize for turning my head, but I have the other screen in order for me to see it. Um, you gotta, sometimes it's just the way it is. And I thank you all for your patience. And I do want to share this amazing little spot that I was reminded about through a beautiful student of mine who's completely thrived on her own that you're going to get to meet come next week, by the way, because we are doing an amazing annual summit, which is the Faith, Hope, and Love annual summit. I have amazing speakers. You're going to meet Jeremy in just a very quick moment here. He's up with us. Hi, Jeremy.
Hello, Karina. We are dealing with some time zone changes, but we're getting there. We're
Oh,
getting there.
we do, and we do have these glitches as well. So it's all good. Every bit of it is all good. Um, and the audience is very forgiving. They know that we run into this, but I'm not quite, see, talk about glitches. I'm not sure why you're just completely on the screen at the moment and I'm not with you.
Oh, that's even
That's
funnier.
also another
As
thing,
I'm searching for
we
my
don't know.
background that I downloaded, there it is.
So it's interesting, but it's okay. People know what I look like, and maybe I'm on the little box here. I'm not so sure. but I'm seeing you anyway. It's okay. Take a breath. I'm thrilled that you're here.
Is my
Actually,
background backwards?
what, dear?
It looks like my background is backwards.
Well, actually, I gave you a background. That was just your post to put up, but your background doesn't have all that extra stuff on it.
Correct. This is what we call real life, and we're
This is
loving it.
real life, and it's all good.
We
I
are
was,
definitely
while you're
getting.
sorting that out a little bit, I was explaining to the audience. I still don't know why, how you're just here, but okay. Um, Next week, the summit, the Faith, Hope, and Love Summit, the 13th, 14th, and 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that means 4 p.m. Pacific Time, and then conversions in between. We have somebody coming in from Germany who's 6 hours in front, and London, and then we have somebody in Australia who's actually coming in on the following day. So use time converters, please. And we will definitely put the registration link in the chat for you. And once you register, if you can't make it for the whole thing off and on, you are going to be eligible for the replay. So I just want to say this, but these 3 evenings are absolutely designed. First off, they're brought to me by Spirit and guided by Spirit. And that's what these 3 evenings are all about, is to give you this amazing information, but give you an uplifting thing. It just takes one gem to turn around and enrich your life. And
Mhm.
so we certainly are dedicated to come and giving you that. And at the end, for participating, we send you a beautiful gift basket as well to keep you on your journey to ignite yourself for this blessed new year coming. So, having said all that, it is all about inspiration. It is all about uplifting. And so, Jeremy,
Karina,
my first question for you is going to be, and beautiful background, by the way,
thank
um,
you.
is inspiration. What is inspiration for you?
Hmm. It's a great question. Um, Several things pop up into my thought. To be inspired. It's a sense of feeling alive. Um, I use the phrase turned on and tuned in, and they have different concepts between the two. So, to inspire, to breathe in, to take in life and sort of feel alive. And when we think about, like, if you think about your car, you can get in your car seat, right? Your driver's seat. Like when you were a little kid and you used to pretend you were driving. You can do all the motions, but if the car's not turned on, it's not going anywhere. You can do all this work. So then you can be an adult and you can have your car turned on and you can be driving in it. But if you're not tuned in, you can be like, how did I get here? Or I just missed my exit, or all these things. And so inspiration is that combination of being turned on, tuned in, and feeling alive. That's what registers right now and resonates for me in this moment.
Well, that's pretty wonderful and very powerful and very true. Um, and I love the analogy about the child pretending to drive the car versus not getting anywhere because it's not turned on. And us as adults, because we get so busy in
Mhm.
life, we're actually pretending really to be inspired and moving forward because we're moving.
Yeah,
Get this done. Oh, yeah, I'm inspired. I'm going. Except we're not. We're shut off.
right. We're going through autopilot.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And part of the autopilot we forget about is the fact that our physiology actually needs to breathe to get oxygen in it mindfully. And so, yes, thank goodness it is automatic that our body does have its own intelligence and it breathes to keep us alive. However, we're still oxygen deficit,
Mm-hmm.
which then will in turn make us nutrient deficient
Mm-hmm.
because things don't work in our body. And yet, on the flip side, they love to say that we are medically hindered for this, and this, when actually it's just deficiencies that create these symptoms that appear to be something that they're not.
Yeah, yeah. I would go one step with that, where it's deficiencies that lead to then excesses, because we want to look at it as a full cycle, right? So we have the inspiration, the breathing in, the taking in, and then the opposite of that, the reaction of that, is the releasing, the letting go, the removal of that. And so when we're bringing in the beautiful oxygen and the life force and all these things, we're expelling out the byproducts that for something else is actually its life force. Humans
Absolutely.
expel CO2 and plants take CO2 in and things like that. And there's so much metabolism processes that are requiring CO2. And so it's amazing. A lot of us are very CO2 deficient.
Yep.
And our tolerance to CO2 is really weakened. Where if we actually did I actually do a process with my clients where I'll have them hum. And the average person realistically should breathe about 5 times in a minute. And you see a lot of people, they'll breathe way, way over that. They'll breathe in like 20 some. And if you did an hour, it's over 1,200 respirations a minute or an hour.
Little
And so,
gasps.
right,
Gasp is
yeah,
what's
yeah,
happening.
like a panting, almost like, and we call that a
Mhm.
stress response breathing, fight or flight activated. When you do humming and you hum out, you can drop that cycle down to under 3. I know, like when I do it consistently, I can do a whole minute on a single breath and holding that, and everything starts to like ground, everything starts to feel calmer in that process.
Mhm.
And one of the things I think interesting about this concept of breath, when you think of like the 5 necessities to humanity, to life, love, food, water, all these things, oxygen is the only one that we can only go moments realistically without, before the consequences are dire. Like
Yeah.
you can go a long time, weeks, months without food. Technically, you can't go, you can go a couple days without water. You can't go very long without oxygen.
No,
And
you
so,
can't.
like, just thinking about that and how, like you said, a lot of us don't take our breath and the gift that the breath is,
Mhm.
for what it is. It's also, I'm gonna go a little out there with this one. The breath is a constant reminder of the life and the death cycle.
Yeah.
And how to embrace that and not fear it. By breathing in, our an entire life, this journey started on an inhale, and our final act in this plane will end on an exhale.
Exhale.
Right. And,
Absolutely.
and and we do that. And it's like, every moment we have the ability to change and to literally let it kind of die, if you will, in a positive way. If we don't like where we're at, stop and take some deep breaths and then enjoy the exhale, because you're literally releasing it. You're letting that part of that cycle go. Um, it's a
Yeah. And
great process.
there's a great deal that we can go into that for everybody. And this is why we want you to come to the summit, because you're going to learn different aspects of all these different things and take away a few things that can literally improve your life and extend your life.
Without
And
question.
that's no joke.
Yeah.
Absolutely no joke. So, and thank you very much for that, because it is true. And oh, there is so much on that. So we're going to shift for a second. And, and I'm going to ask you, is there a particular inspirational story at the moment that comes to mind that you would like to share with the audience? Because a lot of times people think that inspiration is just out there, very esoteric, very woo-woo, something that's not real, not practical, that doesn't really apply to their life. And we can find inspiration in all different ways. And so every speaker, I ask this question because it is your experience and your perceptions that have happened that might give somebody a slight different way to start expanding their world of perceptions and make them more open to something that comes across their path, like us, that's a little different than what they're used to, and they'll be open
Oh,
to listen.
absolutely. Um, I mean, it's funny. A lot of people, when I first meet them on this journey, I'm gonna tell a quick little story about it. They're looking for like that miracle.
Mhm.
And they get this concept that a miracle is like this once in a lifetime lightning striking right in front of them moment. And I feel like as I've done this journey, the miracles are like popping up everywhere. They're actually not this elusive concept. They're in the little moment. They're in the bigger moment, but they're in everything in between. They're even in the setbacks sometimes.
Mhm.
The dramatic shifts, the wake ups, and then the ahas. So when you think of like miracle, I think of the same, like inspiration feels very similar for me, where it's like I'm always inspired. Like it's like you're like, do you have a favorite or a moment of
I
inspiration?
know. Well,
How do I pick one? Like, oh my goodness.
not
There's
not
so much.
necessarily favorite, one that just you're
Yeah,
inspired to share about inspiration right now. How's that?
totally, totally. No, I love it. I love it. But it's like my brain was like, ah, like it's like I'm gonna go with a like picking your favorite number. I'm like 3 right now. I don't know. I like all the numbers or all the colors.
But see,
Um,
now, isn't that wonderful that there are that many inspirational stories? Because honestly, if you want to be inspired, you can be inspired and
yeah,
constantly. That's part of a mindset that we want to remind you of.
totally.
Okay, we're
So
ready.
I'm gonna go with it's actually a story that I'm working on for today. Every morning I wake up and I wasn't a big morning person. Like I was the person who like thought 10 a.m. was when the day should start. And I realized that you can get so much more done if you just wake up a little earlier and you don't actually go right into it. Like you don't jump onto screens, you don't jump onto your phone. And I had started to really feel this, I was becoming almost anxiously addicted to my technology, constantly trying to dial in, trying to get ahead. And I was just like, I don't like where this is heading. So I stopped and I started this process where I wake up an hour earlier than I wanted. So I wake up around 6 a.m. my time. And I go and I sit in silence. Like I meditate. I have a little biomat that I like to lay on. I sit and I just sit in silence. And I do that for like 30 minutes. And then I journal. And I've never been a journaler like consistently. It's just I like to write, but I've never been a person who journals. And so I started journaling consistently for like 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 12 minutes. It's not like there's no set destination I have to get to. And then I started doing this mini trampoline thing where I now do like 15, 20 minutes of mini trampoline jumping every morning. And then I start my day. And I was like, I'm just going to commit to this habit. I got to wake up every day. I got to go through it. What if I did this? And then I end my night the same way. I go to bed about an hour earlier. I shut off all the technology. I I journal, I breathe, and this is the thing. I sit and I breathe. I just dial in, and I don't have like, it's not some mantra. I'm not like all, I mean, I'm not against transcendental meditation or anything like that, but I don't have a place I'm trying to get to, right? I don't have a dogmatic thing that I'm trying to execute. I'm just being present to me. I allow things to come, and I feel like I really get to connect to source and grace and like all the things that are present, and also the parts of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, Karina, what's so inspiring about this is, for the first time in my life, like, I'm 47 years old. For the first,
Chronologically, you have
correct.
at least
Yes,
four more other ages
correct.
to you.
According to my ID,
Just your
state,
ID. Has
state
nothing to do
issued,
with your physiology, your emotional
correct,
state. So people never get tied to a number, by the way.
correct.
Go for it.
According to my state issued ID, I'm 47 years old. But for the first time in my collective consciousness, I feel like I'm winning at life. And I've
Oh,
deconstructed some of these expectations, you know, where we only win at life when we hit certain financial numbers, or we only have the certain relationship, or we have the certain materialistic value, or we have the certain body type, or we have this, like, we have all these expectations from society
mhm.
and upbringing and socialization and in our own dreams and our own traumas. And so much of that pressure has fallen away, where I now look forward to the 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes that I sit down and I just scratch out some thoughts. And I get to look back at them and be like, "Oh, I crushed that. I fell a little short of that. Oh, this opened up. And this was a surprise. I didn't expect that one." And I just sitting with myself and being like, hey, honey, how's it going? And it's like,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
do
like,
it.
I have a love affair with myself going on, where I actually enjoy, I look forward to that little moment of just Jeremy or whatever and beyond. And I don't, again, I don't know where I go all the time. Maybe I've drifted asleep a couple times. Maybe I've gone to some other places, but I feel this greater sense of peace than I've ever felt in my life.
That is so fantastic to
Habit.
hear. I love it. Because
Yeah.
this is exactly what I teach in Breath 101, of getting to that source core connection, because this is exactly what happens. You just need to commit to taking the time
Mhm.
and being present, because that's when we actually get to release things, as well as our imagination and creativity open. We get so much more clarity. We feel what is happening inside of our physical bodies that might need attention. I mean,
Mhm.
but without taking those moments, we don't know. And we just push and push and push. And, Swamiji used to say, he used to speak in terms of sham space. And with that, we are the creator, and we're sitting in the middle of blue space, and we create anything we desire and bring it in when we're in alignment with our energy, our connection with the universe. It's all in alignment. We bring it all in, but yet we also have the ability to deconstruct or let those parts completely dissolve and go. So, what we are doing is transforming the energy. So, we're releasing it, and it is becoming energy for something else.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And so, yeah, it's very exciting. I know sometimes folks, you may think we're a little out there, but actually, there is a complete science to all of this. That, and I hold a doctorate in spiritual science, just from all the experience I've gone through all the decades, and we're not counting how many, at this point. But what I love now is that mainstream science is finding all these different ways to literally measure the kind of energies that we release, that we're receiving, the frequencies and everything. So the talk may have seemed like it's out there, but honestly, magic and science are the same.
Mhm.
Miracles do happen because honestly, the divine can easily step in, however you want to look at it. But obviously, we're not so intelligent that we can create a grain of sand that's natural, okay, because now we can do a lot of chemical things, and then build something from dirt.
Mhm.
We're just not the ones who create the stars. We're not the ones who create all the galaxies going on around us. So obviously, there is an intelligence beyond the human ego that we can connect when we do that concentrated breathing. Give ourselves the time to say, hi, hello, Karina, hello, Jeremy, here we are. I'm so happy to be with you again. It is so important, especially with what's been flying around us and what the world is up to right now. We still need to come inside.
Mm.
That's where the answers are. It's just like in gemology. Okay, so I'm a graduate gemologist. I've got a lot of a lot of things under my belt. But in gemology, when we look inside a microscope, you obviously, we're now going inside, right? And on one of my logos, you'll see my little cub with wings and this beautiful cosmos. But what it is literally is not an asteroid, but it is a diamond inclusion inside of a sapphire.
Mm.
And so our portal to the outside is actually the inside first, and
Mhm.
then it opens up dimensionally. So bringing that back to home, that means when you take mindful time for yourself, just these precious moments, you feel alive again.
Mhm.
And it is about bringing that life force energy to us.
Mhm.
So this is bigger and more inspirational than usually we go, but it is fantastic. And I think, Jeremy, it is a great segue for people to understand if they come to our summit
Mhm.
on the 13th, 14th, and 15th. They are going to get so much more of this. We
Mm.
have wonderful speakers in sound, in miracles, in oracles, in intuition, and I will be actually doing a dialing in of transforming obstacles into live dreams.
Mm.
And
Mm.
we're all going to be doing some form of experiential meditations for you to bring you there so you are somatically feeling so you can keep and revisit these places to keep moving forward. So
Mm.
I'm very excited for it.
Yes, I think it's amazing. The gifts, the opportunities. Do yourself a favor and show up. And that was how I approached this whole shift. I didn't I had to believe that something was going to open up for me. And that was where I started. I believed that something great was going to happen. I didn't know what. Day one, I was like, oh, it's early. I don't want to be up an hour earlier, you know? And then I kept doing it. And it was in that consistency that the shifts came, and they came immediately. I might not have noticed them, but over time, I've really set that standard now. It's not, and one of the things I constantly work with my clients on, it's progress, not perfection. It's moving the dial just a little bit in the direction of my desires and wants and dreams, allowing things to naturally ebb and flow, but staying on that consistent course. And so sometimes everything it starts with a big leap and a big chance. And we have to trust before we'll get there. I just had a conversation with my 12-year-old son last night. He has a slight head cold. And he was like, will this last forever? And I was like, oh dear, honey, no, it won't. And he was like, well, when will it go away? And I was like, well, do you believe you're going to get better? He was like, I think so. And I was like, because it all starts with belief, buddy. You got to believe it before the results will show up. And again, with so many of my clients, I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it kind of mentality. You probably deal
Yeah,
with this too.
all the time.
I gotta just remind people. I have to remind myself sometimes, especially when I'm feeling overwhelmed or frustrated,
Hmm.
discouraged. I have to go there too. But I sat down and I was like, buddy, the reality, if you want the greatest secret I can ever teach you to the universe, it's you will always be forced to believe it before you see it for everything you're ever going to do. I'm like, so sit here and will your body to healing. It might take a day, it might take 5, but it will heal and it will listen to you. It will respond. It's when we don't think we have influence that then we're like, well, who's driving? It's
Yeah.
like not even having
That's
your
exactly what we're creating, though, too,
yeah,
when we
yeah,
don't believe it.
yeah. So that's a huge part of this whole process. So if anybody's like, hey, I think I'm not sure, I'll believe it when I see it. I gotta tell you that you're just doing that process backwards. You have to believe it and you will see it. And that some people call that, the F word of faith. Some people use the T word
Exactly.
of trust. All trigger words that I myself had to learn, like go through. But as I've done this, my faith is strong. I trust is there. Um, and it's like, oh my goodness, it snuck up on me. I suddenly have these things, and
I
it's
love it. And I
that's
love the fact that you use the term your new standard instead of sometimes when people use the terms, I have no trouble with it, but discipline or practice, they automatically equate work in their mind. But a standard, a new standard is like, oh, it feels freeing.
hmm hmm
And it's just something, oh yeah, I can do this. I
hmm
absolutely love that. And we know is faith is by believing first. And when I have clients sometimes that have trouble wrapping their head around there, I ask them where they are. And they're sitting in a chair, right? Okay. I know they're sitting in a chair. So I asked them, how do you think that chair came to be?
mm
Did the chair just appear? Or is it something that they first saw, imagined, designed, believed it could be a real thing, and then they produced it? I
hmm
said, we understand when we make things, items around us, that is actually the process we go through.
hmm
So why not design your life using
hmm
the process that works for you instead of sabotaging yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I think I always promise that we try and keep it within 30 minutes for everybody, a little bit over. Sometimes they know it's going to be 40, and that's wonderful. But I think this is a fantastic briefing a little bit
hmm
of what somebody can start to understand what they're going to start to receive when they come and join us
hmm
on the 13th, 14th, and 15th. And don't worry, folks, I'll put the link down there. Jeremy's got links. Come and visit us. So I'm going to have information down here anyway. And today, Jeremy, I mean, just the joy that comes from you just inspired me because I have to take care of the stuff that goes behind all this more
Yeah.
today. And so just your beautiful light has inspired me, like, oh, may my day feel lighter for
Mm,
myself, that I'll be able to just do it easier and just keep that open frame. And out there, we really are here from the deepest part of our hearts and soul to help you honestly connect and ignite and thrive and really be fulfilled in this lifetime.
mm.
And you have the right to have that. So we are here for you. Come find us, but definitely come see us next week.
Definitely.
Jeremy, thank you so very much. You have the most blessed day, sweetheart.
Thank you. It's such a honor to be here. And in ditto, you have such a light, and I know how tirelessly persistent you're working to spread joy and hope and love and faith to the world. So thank you for that, you know, infinite amount of energy that you seem to have. It is also inspirational,
Thank you.
and yeah, and
You know I'm hooked up, right?
I know you're supercharged. And I'm just super honored to be part of it, and yeah, to also have you in my life. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Yeah.
And for everybody out there, being this beautiful holiday season, go get in touch with somebody that you lost touch with that means something to you. Let them know.
Mm,
It will do a world of difference that you have no idea to the depths of how that will help and move that person, because we don't know what each other is going through, not really. And most of the time, we never want to reveal that either.
mm,
So just be there for somebody, step out, be inspired, and go inspire somebody else.
mm.
So this is Karina Carj'an and Jeremy, and we will see you next week at the Faith, Hope, and Love Summit that was spiritually designed and orchestrated for me to bring to you. So this is full guidance all the way through. This is not something that just humans thought up of.
Mm-mm.
So know from where the information is really coming from. Mhm. Till then, love.
Thank you.
Everybody, God bless.
Bye bye.